We're back on another Wuthering Waves video. What are we playing? Wuthering Waves, right? I wanted to tackle this notion that people don't like Weewa because it's too hard and everyone wanted a difficult end game, and then after that they get one. I've seen it in my comments section, I've seen it on Twitter, I've seen it everywhere. Excuse me. Here's the thing. This Weewa is a bit difficult. But the thing is that there's a difference between hard content and genuine difficulty, and then artificial difficulty. And so, what do those two mean? And I think it's really good to kind of just provide the definitions. Artificial difficulty is pretty much when the actual substance of what you're playing slash doing is not difficult. It's just that the parameters that are put around them, the super hyper specific, really frustrating parameters. In Weewa's case, it's random AI. It's the horrendous times, the spawns with the waves. Sometimes you can knock a wave out in two waves. Sometimes it's one wave. It's super random. The enemies actually going like invulnerable for a moment. Those little stupid ass white ball enemies, like that is artificial difficulty, right? The whole purpose, and the reason why I say it's artificial difficulty is because the whole purpose of the game mode is to keep everyone centered together. It is an AoE game mode, and they want you to clear as many mobs as possible. And so, obviously, they want to try to separate them at some points, and, that's where your AoE character comes in, like your Rosia, a Gion, or whatever. But even that is still not good enough. I'm going to show you a clip. Shout out to this YouTuber. Now, I'm not saying that they nerfed Gion like they're saying in this clip. But if you look at this, right? So they do the burst against these wolves, and the wolves immediately get sucked in by the enemy, right? By Gion. Now in Weewa, when they do this, it doesn't start off like this. What do you want? So hold on, I'm gonna let the clip play.
To work after the wolves have completed their going back animation.
So after the wolves start retreating, then the CC works on them.
AOE, so he is still very good here. But what do you guys think about this change?
Yeah, okay. I don't know if I missed anything. That is the definition of artificial difficulty. That is when they are specifically designing it where the characters who are made for and now maybe it's a bug. Maybe it is absolutely a bug. I want to make this very clear. I'm not saying that Chloro's the devil or anything like that. It absolutely could be a bug. And if that's the case, I hope they fix it. Right? So if it's a bug, I hope they fix it. But I mean, like, I feel like that's just their purpose in making this mode harder. And so that is not difficult. So when people say, they say, oh my God, well, what do we, it's so difficult. No, real difficulty would be, let's say, a hologram boss. Like, for example, I don't like Hecate. I really think that Hecate is actually kind of annoying. And it's really not that fun to fight. And I do think that has a little bit of artificial difficulty and a little bit of fluff in there as well. But the overall premise of that boss, though, is still more difficult and well designed as opposed to this game mode. This game mode has a purpose and it has, a reason to exist. I might not like it, but an AoE centric game mode allows for different team compositions, different metas, and different styles of play. I think that's absolutely fine, right? I think we could all agree that is good for the game. I'm going to go to this scene real quick. The problem is, though, when now, not only do you have the artificial difficulty through, oh my God, where is it? Whimpering Waste, what away. Not only do you have the artificial difficulty through the actual game mode, but the tokens do nothing. Like, you've taken away the good tokens and the good floor buff, right? So this floor buff says crit damage taken by the enemies is 50%, as opposed to the last floor buff, as I showed in my other video, was all damage being increased, right? There's multiple factors here. I know Saint dropped a video, and I had a few other people reach out to me about this one being pretty good, where you could run Plunder's Captain Seal with Baiji, and I actually think that's really interesting. I think that's pretty cool, but with that being said, running like a naked Baiji just to get our outro with variation, in order for you to kind of get somewhat of a clear, I think is still bad design, and again, artificial. This boon This buff, it does nothing. You don't use Spectral Frazzle here. When the fuck are you hitting someone 10 times in a row? Like, this is just not good game design. It is poor game design, and it's not genuinely difficult like a hologram. Or even, let's say you look at like the original Scar in the TOA. He was super aggressive. He was fighting you, doing all these wild things. They're like, oh my god, dash too hard. I don't think they should have nerfed that. I'm one of the few people who don't think they should have nerfed it, but that was real difficulty, right? So I don't think anyone is saying they don't want difficult content. Now, at the end of the day, it is a gotcha game, so the level and severity of the difficulty the content's going to provide is probably going to be nowhere near like a Souls game, like Wizardry, for example, right? Um, but yeah, the game definitely has room for difficult content, and I'm not even upset if would be the difficult content, but difficult content has to be constructed in a way where it actually makes sense for it to be difficult, and it's not just a bunch of obstacles that are a nuisance for you to overcome. Like, that is insane. That clip I showed you is wild, right? So again, I'm not a fan of this mode. I think they could absolutely fix it, and they said they are going to fix it, which again, kudos to them for reacting so quickly. But I think when we sit down and we look here, it's like I don't know why people are trying to spin this as like, wah, you're crying. It's like, no, that's not it at all. It's like, just sometimes companies take an L, like they just miss, and this was a miss. This was an absolute downgrade from the first Wiwa. Even if they kept the same exact buffs as the previous one, obviously wouldn't be as bad for sure. But there's still some real genuine design flaws with Wiwa that I think needs to be addressed. I would love to see it be addressed really soon because, again, in theory, absolutely creates all those different types of team compositions. But when you pigeonhole yourself to the point where, like, again, going back to these buffs, there's two viable buffs here. It's this one and this one. And the Pilgrim Captain Seal, you have to like be quick swapping like a fucking madman to make this work. And apparently, this is really the one that is the meta right now, right? The Plunderer's Captain Seal. So when all of these other buffs are useless, and these two have more value than your gold tokens, and the enemy AI is atrocious, that is the problem. It's not about being difficult. Like these Diggy Duggies, oh my god, dude, the Diggy Duggies are the worst thing to known to Earth. How many people fight them and then they just curl up and they're invincible for 4 seconds? That is, again, a bad game design because the whole premise of the game mode is to get as many kills as possible. And as opposed to, let's say, making the characters attack more, you have more parry options. They do more damage. I'd rather them kill me in 2 to 3 hits than have a Diggy Duggy or 4 of them eat up 5 seconds of my timer. That is artificial difficulty. And so again, listen, maybe there's some weirdos out there who don't want difficult content. Again, I absolutely want difficult content. This is difficult because it is a gear check and it has bad AI. It has bad design, bad token. It is just negative. And even with a gear check, sometimes the CC, it just fucks up. It just doesn't work, right? As you saw there. So yeah, it's my thoughts. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you think. I love you. Mwah. Let me know I'm right. And I'm back to streaming tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Mwah.